Rick, episode 3 of Loki.
Mate,
What do you think?
can't believe we are already 3 episodes in. We're halfway there, and it is just on. Look, tonight's episode, mate, a bit slow for me. I felt. I knew it was going to be one of those episodes with all the series and everything you watch. There's always that one that's just kind of just a bit slow and a bit few good points in there. There was a few good things which I really, really enjoyed. I probably enjoyed the last maybe 20 minutes of it, to be honest with you, Jace. So, but the overall, it was okay. I think nothing like the last 2 I've seen.
No, I dug it. I probably enjoyed it a little bit more than you. It was a little bit very different. It's probably the most different episode we've seen so far than the other 2. But yeah, I really dug it, and it definitely is a lot to talk about with this episode, because they bring up a couple of really interesting things about Loki, and as well as where this story is heading. So, the start of this episode was pretty well. We've got the sequence in a nightclub, also like a restaurant, I would say. Yeah. With the girl that was the security guard in the last episode for the TVA, one of the TVA. She's in this kind of restaurant scene with what we believe is to be Lady Loki, and they're like best friends. And they're chatting away and all that, and we soon discover it's one of the cool bits is like, so how many people are guarding the timekeeper?
Yeah, just a casual conversation,
and then it kind of flips to that night time straight away, and she's going, we've been best friends forever, so why won't you tell me how many people are guarding the? And we quickly realize it's actually we're seeing inside the TVA guy's head as Lady Loki's trying to extract that information. But she does get out of it. There's the elevators where the elevators are. So, and this it's pretty well the second after the last episode. Rick, we're kicking in the gear here. And we see her arrive through one of those doorways to the TVA. And goes on a little bit of a mini rampage here. She's on a mission. So she's like making her way through, and quickly discovers that her magical powers won't work in the TVA. But she goes through what is a really great, I think, little kick-ass hallway scene in the TVA. And, I love that, when she... I enjoyed that. I love how they just eviscerate with that. But, it's your great little fight scene, and she's kicking butt. But Loki's right behind her, which I thought was kind of cool too, that Loki's, mate, he goes and grabs his knives. I'm thinking, oh, shit, we're getting a knife fight.
We're going toe-to-toe here.
We don't, do we? We don't really get a knife fight, but we do get an interesting conversation, because I think at this point, Loki is probably still very curious about this other variant of Loki, which happens to be a girl. He must be fascinated at this point, and that's why he's following her. In my mind, that's why he's not trying to hurt her. I think he just wants information. Like, who are you? What's going on here? And it's really kind of they come to a situation, and then they see the judge who, for some reason, is like at the same level as those TVA guards. She comes hunting them down, and they go through one of the portals. He grabs one of those little portal kind of switches.
Tablet thing or whatever.
Tablet thing, and they find themselves in this weird place, in this Lamentus One. So they find themselves on this planet called Lamentus One, which is set in 2077.
Which is a moon, or was it or moon was hitting that?
Yeah, as you can see in that. As you can see in there, Rick, it's a planet where the moon is breaking apart and is about to crash land, because he must have chosen from, how it was all apocalypse scenarios where they thought Loki was hiding. Yeah. But he chooses the worst one.
He just picked
the worst one. Time. So which is pretty funny, I reckon. It's a really weird visual style, isn't it? It's kind of, you go from this mustard orange TVA thing to this purple haze kind of planet on the brink of destruction. So it goes in a right. Yeah, visually it's completely different than what we had previously seen, which I'm really digging at this point, and I'm fascinated by her. Like, honestly, as a character throughout this episode, I am absolutely taken with her as a character, even more so by the end of the episode, which we'll kind of get to. But yeah, I look at this point, I'm all in. She was driving me nuts because I couldn't figure out where I knew her from. Do you know where she's from, Rick? I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. Oh, well, there's a movie I saw called Yesterday.
She looks familiar.
Yeah, there was a movie called Yesterday about that thing where that guy wakes up and no one remembers the Beatles. With the
Beatles. Yeah,
she was in that. She was in that.
Okay.
Mate, she carries her worth. I absolutely think this actress is fantastic. I really love. Yeah, really love.
Okay, that's
absolutely. I wouldn't. I think she's a perfect choice, to be honest with you.
Okay,
perfect choice.
Did you think the chemistry between the two are all right through this episode?
Yes, no problems whatsoever. Okay. No problems. It's a very complex type of relationship they've got. And you know what, Rick? I mean, I'll say it now. I was going to get into it later on, but I'll say it now. This show is very much an inward show. In the whole thing is really about Loki finding himself. And it does. And we'll get into a bit deeper what I mean about that as we go along. About 3/4 away for the episode is quite interesting. So they land on this planet. These fragments hitting down left, right, and center, Rick.
They're going,
so they kind of got to run and hide, and they find themselves in this little cabin.
Little shelter thing.
Yeah, and also they've discovered the fact they don't have enough power in their device to create another portal.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't have the juice to do it. So they're going to have to, find juice. But, we get the first scene straight away, what you're kind of referring to as their chemistry, I think plays well when they go to that little hut. Mm-hmm. She goes up to him and tries to manipulate him, but she can't. But they're starting to build a rapport. We're starting to understand who they are. And, she's very angry at this point. You're not really getting a lot out of her. She's just like aggressive. But Loki's more open, wanting to know where she's at. Like, what is she kind of all about? Because you know what? Loki's already sniffed out something isn't right. He doesn't know what it is, but it's very clear to me as an audience member watching him. He knows something isn't quite right about all of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's so motivated to build a rapport with her. And they have to work together at this point. It's one of those situations, if they're going to get off this planet alive, they're going to have to work together, which is obviously a great opportunity for some character development.
Yeah.
And they're breaking away at that through the show, Rick. So the more he talks to her, Rick, the more he's discovering about himself. Because in many ways, this episode to me feels like it's Loki trying to learn to love himself again. And I really think that's what it's about. I think the last couple of episodes were a deconstruction about his hate and where he is now. Because, this version of Loki, literally 24 hours before, was trying to kill the Avengers and enslave humanity. To somebody's had to face up the fact that his life isn't as meaningful as it is. Yep. So it brings him into a very internal headspace. He's trying to discover, what is Loki all about? And I think he hates himself. And certainly in this episode, in that scene later on when we get to the diner where they're talking to each other, I think that's really exposed there. But I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead of myself. What they get to, though, they get to the small town after they've discovered they have to work together and go through it, Rick.
They have to because he's hiding.
Gave me a real Borderlands vibe, but in a purple haze. I don't know if you played that game, Borderlands.
No, but I know the one you're talking about. Yeah,
it's got a little bit of a Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy feel, and
Rick and Morty feel.
Yeah, Rick and Morty. So I really love their back and forward in this episode. I'm really kind of digging it, and because it's more of a foot journey, they're really going from point A to point B through this episode. It can feel like it's slowing down.
It was a bit, So me, and you're right. It would just felt a bit slow to me, but I just didn't. I didn't feel her now as a character for me.
You didn't.
I had issues with her. I just
really.
Felt, yeah, it did. I didn't feel like the chemistry between the two were right. She was the right fit.
Like I thought. Hey, I get it, but that's what it is. You either like it or you don't. You buy in or you buy. You don't.
I like it before.
I'm definitely all in for her.
Yeah.
You know what scene I did love though when they obviously going to chase power for this device, and they run past that house, and she kicks in the door, and she just gets blowing right across the thing, which was hilarious. Which is really a nothing scene, I suppose, is there? They get a little bit of information out of that woman in regards to they've got to get to the train.
Yeah, they didn't know where everyone is. They said they're at the Ark. There's a train there to get there.
Yeah, so they have to kind of come up with a plan to get on the train. And obviously, Loki with the ability to cloak and make himself look completely different, and her ability to influence people help them through that situation. Yeah, where they get to the point where you can see she's actually touching him, telling the other guard to let them on the train at this point. Okay. So that's their plan is to get on a train, get to the city, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, where the Ark is.
Yeah. So where the Ark is, so they can draw the power from it to power up that very small device, I got to say. So, but, I mean, so it's pretty linear. We get on the train and it comes very Snowpiercer for a little bit, doesn't it? Well, it's a very affluent train.
It's very, and it's full of rich, snobby people.
People, yeah.
Just there. I kind of dug the scenes coming up to this because you get to see a bit of a different side to Loki, which is good, a more relaxed side.
Yeah, where we get to see him. What you're referring to, Rick, is this here where he's actually finding once Lady Loki has had a little nap. She wakes up to him drunk, singing songs. He's on the piss, which is pretty funny. But just before that part, Rick, is probably a couple of things where are probably worth noting. And it's the scene with just two of them sitting in that little table. And it's where you are getting to break down where they're talking about their past in this, Rick. What kind of life did Loki have versus what Lily had? Yeah. And it's really interesting. And this is the scene specifically I quote where I think this is where Loki's trying to heal and learn to love himself again. And that's what I think this character's journey is to kind of discover what Loki really is by the end of the show. And with that, and hey, there's a certain moment where Rick, you just know the entire LBGT community were going, don't you dare. But they chill, everybody. He likes both men and women. All right. So no one needs to get offended. No one needs to get cancelled on this one. Because the SJWs will like they make him straight. Oh, it's on. But no, it's all good. And that's one of those things where that annoyed me because that they went out of their way clearly to say that he was bisexual. And for me, I know for that community it might be, well, we want representation on screen and we want it to be voiced. I go, well, yeah, I get you, but it just feels like it was forced. We kind of all knew it. I just don't know why that type of stuff needs to be discussed in a superhero show. But anyway, that's my old conservative ass there talking. But it was a big character point in it.
That was because they were talking about their mum as well. Her mum, his mum, that connection, and that was, and you can see, how Loki was reminiscing about his mum and what had happened with her and so forth. So it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
It's a powerful scene, Rick. It's a powerful scene. So
correct.
But quickly they get into a fight and get thrown off the train, Rick. They get into a good fight scene. Fight scenes are always top notch as usual.
Pretty good
in the show. So. But they get into a fight scene, which unfortunately leads to the fact that Loki has broken. We can kind of barely see it. But he's destroyed that device. it's toast. So puts them in a hell of a position because they still need to get to the city, to get to the Ark, to be able to now power up a device that not really working.
No.
So
they figured out what they have to do.
They have to get on the Ark, and they have to fly it off. So the only way off for them now, they have to get, and which apparently doesn't happen in the normal timeline. No,
that's right. How they figured out.
That's right. Yeah. They know what's going to happen. Everybody dies. Nobody survives this thing. But, like you said, they've never had us on this planet. So that's their mission. Right. And, they have to slowly trudge their way through to the city, as you can see there. And, it's interesting because it's a great scene here. And look, it looks very Guardians of the Galaxy when we get into the city. It looks gorgeous. Neons and different colors and really bright and colorful. And certainly, again, very visually different to the previous 2 episodes that we had watched, which was very, got like mustards and browns and oranges and very much that. So love that. And man, what great visuals is in this because they get into the city, dude. This is cool. They're kind of battling their way and they're moving forward. They get into the city and the goddamn moon cracks in half. You can kind of see that. It's game over. It's
happening.
It is happening, and man, it happens hard. And they're peaking. They're running around. They're doing whatever they can do to try to get on that ship, which promptly gets trashed. It gets destroyed. It absolutely gets. They were too slow. They couldn't make it happen. And then essentially at the end of the episode, we've got
she walks away.
She's walking away.
She knows that that's it. It's over.
And now he realizes that's it. It's game over. He's done ski. So yeah, look, it was, and that was the episode. Rick, runtime of actual footage. Forget about the credits. Was about 33 minutes. So one of the shortest episodes
and the rest
that had been in there. But look, I think there was a lot of character development in that episode. We're getting to know where Loki's kind of heading. But the big thing we haven't talked about is the fact that he cottons on about the TVA. She dropped some mega important news in this episode, which I think was worth leaving until last. And that is, she informs Loki that the entire TVA are variants, just like Loki in that. And Loki says, but they don't know that. So that is a big deal, Rick, because what that basically is saying that these guys are prisoners in the TVA. And she referred to the TVA as like fascist organization. That's who the bad guys are here. That's what Loki's job's going to be, is to smash apart the TVA, which leads me to my theory of overall in the MCU, how this is going to work. I feel like this is the episode where the multiverse becomes this is the show where the multiverse becomes unleashed. Spider-Man No Way Home is the result of the multiverse becoming unleashed. And I think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse Madness is them trying to take back control of the multiverse. That's my theory. Because it makes sense. More so than WandaVision, this show directly affects the MCU on a bigger scale. It's a bigger show, so.
Well, there's a lot of theories, Jason. I don't know if you've heard the Loki theory.
It seems to make the most sense, though, doesn't it? I mean, if this show is about the multiverse becoming untethered, becoming free, then, of course, the after effects, that's what's going to happen in No Way From Home, which we know directly deals with the multiverse. We know also Doctor Strange deals with the multiverse, as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yeah.
Deals with a different side of it. So we've got, there is a lot riding on what's going on in the multiverse, so it's
we've seen it all happen.
That was my theory. But because of that, I mean, that changes the game. Loki now knows that the TVA are a corrupt organization. That's where he's going to focus all his energy on the next coming episodes. That's what I think, anyway.
Well, you're on the same path, mate, because there's a lot of theories out there, and there is a Loki theory out there. I don't know if you've heard the Loki theory.
Okay, what's the Loki theory? Drop it on me.
But it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I don't even know why we think about it myself. So we all know that obviously Loki's stuck in the TVA, and obviously TVA stands for Time Variance Authority. Yep. Loki and the TVA are also stuck in the quantum realm. Okay, so remember when Ant-Man and the Wasp, they were in the quantum realm. All right.
Yeah.
Remember when also in Ant-Man and the Wasp in the quantum realm, the mother says that time is different here.
Yes.
All right. Time moves differently here. So then when Ant-Man was stuck in there, he thought he was in there for 5 minutes, but was actually stuck in there for 5 minutes. So when when Loki was talking to Morbius, he was saying, "How long have you been here?" And he goes,
"It's hard.
I don't know. Time is different here."
Yeah, moves differently.
Moves differently here. Remember also in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they were in the quantum realm, we saw that city in the background.
Yeah.
That is the TVA in the quantum realm. They're stuck in the quantum realm.
Could be.
Thinking. Could be.
Yeah, it would be a cool little twist. I'd be cool with that. Yep. Okay. I understand that theory. I don't know if I believe it, but I like it.
Yep. We also know that the main villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp in Quantum Realm, the new one, in the third one, is Kane the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Kane the Conqueror is actually one of the timekeepers in the show. So you can see how they're all locked in.
So that the theory is that one of the timekeepers is Kane the Conqueror.
Kane the Conqueror is one of the timekeepers. So you can see they're going to be a crossover, or they're going to be in there.
Nah, I think
so. There's got to be a crossover.
I just think if you have Kane the Conqueror into a film perspective, you don't introduce a villain of that scope into a TV show. That's the only reason I don't buy it.
They're the theories out there, but
I love it.
But I like the city. Yeah, that's what makes.
I like that idea. I like the idea, but whether they're accurate or not, we'll find out. But it's definitely a great show to be able to do that, to have a good chat and dig into it a bit more. But that was it, Rick. We are halfway through the show. We finished the first 3 episodes. We only got 3 more to go, and this thing is wrapped up.
We're on,
so that was it, guys. Obviously, it's really important to us that we get your communication out there, guys. We really want you to comment, be involved. Give us your theory. What's your theory going on?
That's right.
Where's it heading? We love the feedback, don't we, Rick?
We do, guys. So we really appreciate it. So definitely drop us a comment, guys. We appreciate it.
Brilliant. All right, guys. We're in and out. We're done. We've gotten through episode 3 of Loki. We'll be back same time next week as we delve into episode 4. And guys, don't forget this week too, on a side note, apologies. We had some technical difficulties last week. We were unable to do the Ghostbusters retro review. Unfortunately, this Friday night, we won't be able to do it again. So, unfortunately, we've had to take a couple of weeks break. But we will be back with that, and we will be continuing with the show. So hold on, guys. It won't be too much more wait. That's it, Rick. I'm out for the night. You're out too.
I'm out, mate.
And we'll see you guys next week.